I'm no Keith Code, but I've been riding motorcycles for more than a decade, and in that time, I've always owned this. It's a 2000 CBR 600 F4. With 110 horsepower, it's always served me well during LA commutes or riding up to the canyons on the weekend. In fact, during that time, I've never thought, oh, I need a more powerful bike. Until now.
You see, BMW loaned us this, an S1000RR. As a Japanese sport bike guy, BMW's two-wheeled offerings have never really been on my radar. And that's exactly why BMW built this bike. Before diving too deeply into why it exists, let's start with what it is. The S1000RR is the road-going sibling of the motorcycle BMW campaigns in the World Superbike Championship. The domesticated version has all the hardware expected of a modern sport bike.
It's got a slipper clutch for downshifts that don't upset the rear tire. Of course, there's a fully adjustable suspension, and BMW was kind enough to put a little chart underneath the back seats with some basic settings for race, sports, and comfort. Curb weight is a svelte 450 pounds with a full tank of fuel, and the aluminum frame uses the engine as a stressed member to reduce weight and to maximize stiffness. And then there's the engine, a 990cc four-cylinder producing 193 horsepower at 13,000 RPM. Let's let that number sit in for a second. All that power makes for an exceptional riding experience. If that van starts to careen into your lane, you've got great responsiveness from the throttle and excellent mid-range power to just blast out of the way. Let the revs rise above 8,000 and all hell breaks loose. It's hard to describe in words that are non-profane just how fast this bike feels. Around town there's a fair bit of weight on your wrists, but as speeds rise, the wind blast helps keep the rider up. And speaking of wind, I'm told these little cutouts right here in the windscreen help minimize buffeting. Seems to work. Depending on engine revs and road surface, a fair bit of vibration comes through to the mirrors, making it a little bit tough to tell if that's a police cruiser or a town car coming up behind you. Let's talk electronics for a second. Clutchless upshifts on a motorcycle aren't anything new, but usually you have to modulate the throttle as you shift up. With the optional HP gear shift assist, the bike automatically cuts spark and fuel when you upshift, resulting in super quick shifts with no wrist flicking. One big selling point is an optional package that combines traction control with anti-lock brakes. My only motorcycle crash ever occurred when I locked up the front tire. ABS would have prevented that.
As for the traction control system, it features 4 settings: wet, sport, track, and slick, that dish up increasingly racier throttle and traction control behavior. Both ABS and traction control can be deactivated if you're the kind of rider who needs that level of control. We have to mention quickly the S1000RR's crazy-ass styling. To me, the nose looks like a Bond villain wearing a monocle. Asymmetrical styling is a hallmark of BMW design, and I think it's a motif that works well when applied to a sport bike. You might disagree, but no worries. If you see one on the street, you won't have to look at it for long. In car terms, this bike is less expensive than a Toyota Corolla, but it'll run 0 to 60 in around 3 seconds, hit 120 in less than 7 seconds, and tops out just shy of 190 miles per hour. Starting price around $14,000 is within $600 of all of its leader bike competitors, including the Yamaha R1, Honda CBR 1000, Kawasaki ZX-10R, and Suzuki GSX-R 1000. Add $1,500 for dynamic traction control and sport ABS, another $450 for gear shift assistant, and the total price comes to about $16,000, destination not included, for a top-tier superbike overflowing with electronics designed to make you a safer and faster rider.
The S1000RR's entire reason for being is to draw youngish guys like myself into the BMW brand. Did BMW succeed? Yeah, you bet they did. It looks like nothing else, has world-class acceleration, braking, and handling, and does so at a price you can justify to your significant other.
No doubt the S1000RR appeals to Japanese sport bike fans in a way no other Beamer does. But even if it isn't your cup of tea, at least give BMW credit for keeping the leader bike world on its collective toes. As they say, competition improves the breed.